Hello and welcome to today's 3 series course. Today we're going to go through all the features and functions of your wonderful new machine so you know exactly what everything does and feel really confident at the end. First thing we need to do is turn our machine on, so I'm going to plug it in. So I'm going to get my cable and I'm going to pop that in the back, the socket's at the back of the machine, and then I'm going to switch it on at the side. Now next stage is to wind our bobbins. So I'm going to put my bobbin on my bobbin winder here. Then I need to attach my thread. So I can take my thread, and if it's cross wound, I can lie it flat on my horizontal spool pin. But if it's parallel wound, so it's straight, then I would put it on my vertical spool pin, and that just pulls out and pops in there. And I could put my foam pad on first and then pop it on there and take it from there. But for today, I'm going to use my cross wound thread. So I've laid it flat. Then you've got your different cotton reel holders. I normally go for the medium, and I can just pop that on, so that stops this spinning. So I take my thread and it wants to come off the reel clockwise, as if I'm looking down the end. Then I can take it and I go up through the back, and I go round, completely round this pin here. This is my pre-tension stud here. I'm following the dotted lines, and then I go round my bobbin 2 or 3 times, and then I can trim. There's a little cutter there. Then all I need to do is flick my bobbin winder over, and it will wind my bobbin until it's full and turn off, or I can turn it off at any point. So if you don't want a full bobbin, you can just turn it off when you're ready. If I'm all threaded up, but I know I'm going to run low of bobbin thread and I want to wind an extra bobbin, I can do without unthreading my machine. What I do is I place my bobbin thread on this spool here. I go through the little paper clip here. Then I can go all the way round my pre-tension stud again, round the bobbin and trim, and then wind my bobbin, and I don't have to unthread, so that's a really useful feature. So the next stage is to put our bobbin into our bobbin case. So we can just pop the bobbin in. Now the most important thing is that it turns clockwise. If it turns clockwise, this means that the bobbin case will act as a brake, and when you stop sewing, it will stop the bobbin from spinning. If it's anti-clockwise, what happens is it continues to spin and your thread becomes unraveled, and you'll get birds nesting underneath, or it won't stop from spinning. So make sure we're going clockwise, and then we just go round, and you'll see there's a slit in the side. We go through the slit and under the spring here. Now you've got this finger on the bobbin case. Now this points upwards. Now if there's a hole in the top of that finger, the thread goes through that and out the back if you want additional tension. And you may use this on something like a satin stitch or a buttonhole. But for normal sewing, we don't need to thread it through that hole. The next thing we do is we can open the door, and we hold the latch open, and that stops the bobbin from falling out. And then with your finger pointing up, we can pop it into the machine and press. It has a little click, and then that's it into your machine. Then we also have a little trimmer here, so I can take my thread and I can cut it here. Now if I cut my bobbin thread here, that means the thread is the correct length that I can start to sew, and it will automatically connect to my top thread. I don't have to bring my bobbin thread up to the top. So that is my bobbin in my bobbin case in my machine. The next stage is to thread the top of your machine. Now it's really important when you're threading the top that your presser foot is raised, because this opens the tension discs, which are here, and allows the thread to drop down to the bottom of them. So when you close your tension discs, they're clamped tight round the thread and you get perfect tension. So in order to do that, we can make sure the lever at the back is up, but it does help if we've got a presser foot on, because then we can tell whether it's raised or lowered. So to put your presser foot on, you can just slide it under over the cone, and then with one finger you should be able to pull the lever down, and that will clamp your presser foot in place. And now I can tell that my presser foot is raised. So we're going to thread the top now. So we go through the silver hook at the back, so that's point 1, and we're following the solid lines. Then we come forwards and down to point 2, so through our tension discs. Then we go round to point 3, up to point 4, and we go in on the right and out on the left. Then we come down to point 5, we have a large needle bar, and then we have a smaller needle bar just here, which we enter from the left. Okay, so now we're going to use our needle threader. So I'm going to lower my presser foot. That gives me a bit of tension on my thread. Now the way I like to do it is I trap the thread with my 2 fingers here, and then I have got my index finger to help guide it. Just makes it a bit easier. I come halfway down and go under the little guide there, and there's a little rest which helps it and stops it moving. Then I go firmly down, and this section clamps round the needle. There's also a little metal hook that goes through the eye of the needle, and that's what grabs the thread. Then I go through the slit to the back. Now at this stage it's really important to let go with your right hand while you gently raise up with your left hand, because if you hold on too tight it won't be able to bring the thread through the eye of the needle. So we just gently raise with this hand. Then we can lift our foot up, we can pinch the hook of thread that's been created, pull it through the needle, go underneath the foot and trim at the side, and then that's me all threaded and ready to go. Okay, so now we need to attach our foot control. So we can unplug it, and we just need to unwind the amount of wire we need. So unwind it. And then we've got this a little point here or there where we can just have it coming out. So I'm having it coming out of the side. And I'm going to pop this on the floor. Then this end plugs in at the back near where we put our power cord. So we go around the back and we can just pop that into position. Then we've got our lovely clear tables to help support our work. So they just slide in, just keep them nice and flat, and they just pop onto your machine. And if we had a knee lift, which is an optional extra for the 335, you can't put it on a 325, but for a 335, we would plug it in there.